Senator Hagerty, one thing we've talked about too is this idea. I mean, you were running us through all the stuff you're doing. You're in Pennsylvania. You were at the Trump rally in New York City, and there's sometimes this idea about you that some kind of moderate Republican. I think you probably were MAGA before most people in the United States even knew what that was.
I tell you, if you grew up in a small town like I did, and you've witnessed and felt the condescension from the Northeast liberal establishment, the media. I think we're all sick and tired of being deemed a flyover state. Yeah. Something I understand very well. I think the fact is I've been fortunate to be able to do business and have a successful career that's taken me all over the world.
Right.
But I never forgot my roots, and I totally appreciate everything and every sentiment that people are feeling here in America right now. The forgotten men and women of America have a voice right now in Donald Trump, and to be able to serve in his administration as I did last time was a great honor. To see him coming back with such strength right now is exciting, and I think I certainly feel the excitement myself when I'm out on the trail in these battleground states. Our population is moving with us, even in Tennessee, Jordan. Our early voting enthusiasm is way up, yep. And what we're seeing is in those counties that are strongholds for Republican. Voters, everybody is stepping up. Our numbers are like they've never been before in terms of the enthusiasm,
and that's amazing. And I think. Too, something to point out is because it's very important that we're focused on President Trump, that we take back control of the U.S. Senate, because that's the only way we get through good nominees. It's the way we get legislation to the desk of the president ultimately, and it's the toughest one to get things through. So having even a Republican majority of any size is so important if you're a Trump supporter, because to get things done is going to take that Senate.
Well, I think that if we allow Chuck Schumer to retain the gavel, Schumer will do everything he can to block President Trump and his agenda. We can't let that happen. And I feel very good that we will not let that happen, that we'll see the gavel come back to Republican hands. The question is, what will our margin be? I'd rather it be 53, 54, 55 Republican senators as opposed to just 51. And I feel like we can do that if the opportunity were ever there. It's present right now. We just need our Republican voters to get out and vote early. De-risk this thing. Get your voice now. You know what you're going to do on Election Day. Go ahead and do it now. Take the risk out of the equation.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I always say, too. I got 3 kids, parents, and everything else. So, I don't know what the weather's going to be next week. I don't know what's going to be happening with the kids. But I knew today, after I dropped my daughter off, youngest, at preschool, I could run over, at least check to see if this was a good time to go for me. And it was, and it worked. And we made it all here on time. So, I mean, it's important. Again, this was my day to go do that. And then I had a backup day on Thursday just in case, where I would have amount of time as long as I needed. But let's get past just voting, because you've also talked about how Democrats have gotten so desperate in these final weeks of the campaign. Now we're being, President Trump is Hitler, or he's a fascist, or he's a dictator and an enemy of democracy. And I think Kamala Harris said a dangerous, not just to America, but the world.
It's amazing what they resort to. Last week on CNN, I was defending President Trump based on some remarks that supposedly that General Kelly is representing President Trump made a number of years ago. I followed up with the people that were there. There's no truth to it. But the Democrats and their partisan media allies are more than willing to just attack us. The first question to me was, did I think Hitler done anything good? I mean, it's just shocking.
This is on CNN, and it's like in 2024, you're asking a U.S. senator, was there things that Hitler did good? I mean, it's not even just ridiculous, but it's also like, so it's just demeaning almost, the question itself.
It certainly is, but they've tried to pin this on every Republican presidential candidate, going back, over decades. This is their go-to playbook, is to pull out things like Hitler, Nazi, fascism, racist, whatever. The American public are tired of this. I mean, I think we're way past this right now. The American public knows. 72% of the American public will tell you this country is on the wrong track. Who was here for that ride? Kamala Harris was the last voice in the room. Whether it's disgracing us in Afghanistan as a nation, destroying our economy, destroying our southern border, creating national security crises, and crime in our cities is way through the roof. She can't escape that, and President Trump is the one who can fix it.
Yeah, you call her the, quote, avatar of Kamala Harris. Explain that to people, because I think it's actually a pretty good term.
Well, what we saw happen after Joe Biden was kicked to the curb, ruthlessly kicked to the curb, I might add, the media went right to work. She takes no media appointments herself, but they begin to construct a new Kamala Harris for us to digest. And the ramp up between Biden's dropping out of the race and the Democrat convention was something like I've never seen, creating this completely different person than the reality that she has been. In trying to basically make the American public think that somehow Kamala Harris went from being the most radical left-leaning member of the U.S. Senate to being a moderate. It's ridiculous. It's a joke, and the American public are seeing through it now.
Will?
Senator Hagerty, you mentioned the way the media has projected upon the candidate, President Trump, and former president, but also it can't be lost that when they make these statements about, say, the Madison Square Garden rally, that they are not just calling him a fascist or Nazi. They are taking the rhetoric of basket of deplorables from Hillary Clinton and throwing gasoline on that and calling 50% of the country effectively a Nazi. And you see President Obama out there trying to say, how did we get here? We need to tone down the rhetoric. We're so divisive. But what we're seeing is our own media are the ones that are throwing gasoline on the fire that was started many, many decades ago by liberal policies and liberal politics attacking half of the country. Do you see a way forward out of this as we look into a new era of politics?
Well, the first step in the way forward is to reelect President Trump, to put him back into office. It's to get a majority in the United States Senate and hold it in the House. That's our opportunity to come back and fix the massive set of problems that the American public are dealing with right now to make their lives better yet again. President Trump was able to do that. Real wages were up in his administration. People felt prosperity at every level that they'd not felt before. Now they feel endangered because of crime. They feel threatened because of the fact that they've allowed, could be 12 million, could be 20 million people that have come across this border. We have no idea who is in our country and what sort of security threat they represent, but we know that it's significant. You think about how we've weakened our posture on an international basis after what happened in Afghanistan, the wars that we found ourselves in just because there's a void in American leadership. This all gets fixed the day President Trump comes into office and we provide him with the support on the legislative branch that he needs to get our nation back on track. And as that happens, I think the people that have been so radicalized, to believe this stuff that the media are spouting are going to realize, wait a minute, my life got better again. That's the way to do it. It's to bring our nation back and demonstrate that we can do it, and the right policies will make that happen. President Trump will deliver those.
And this is kind of a new push by Republicans. I remember just a couple weeks ago in West Virginia, I was speaking at their Lincoln Day dinner. And every speaker before me, whether they were elected very locally or at the statewide level, they all said, Senator Hagerty, one thing we've got to do is turn out the vote big in deep red states. We know we're going to win the Republican votes, but there's an importance to this election, not to actually how to become the president, but how to kind of make it clear to the Washington elite that you are here and that the American people really did want you. That wasn't some 5 or 6 million vote discrepancy. But if it's close, I think that kills that whole notion from the Dems that we need to go to, basically letting everyone, all these kind of ideas that no more electoral college. And of course, then I think about us in Tennessee and I think, would we get any visits?
Never. Yeah. No, if we do away with the electoral college, and again, you got to go back to the founding of this nation. The only way they were able to bring smaller states into the fold was to agree to allow each state to have a voice. The Democrats, of course, would like to take that away so that 5 large states can control the outcome of every election. That shouldn't happen here in America. That's a founding premise and a promise that our forefathers made to us as we brought this nation together. I do think, though, that the Democrats have begun to lay the predicate for making the argument that if President Trump doesn't win the popular vote, that he's somehow illegitimate. You saw them take action in Colorado, Massachusetts to take him off the ballot. These are blue states. They just wanted to reduce the absolute number of votes that he has so that it can, again, feed this, divisive argument that they're going to come up with, if they can, that somehow President Trump isn't a legitimate winner.
And just quickly, we've got less than 20 seconds here, really. But the idea of, you were in Pennsylvania, and I know how key that's always been as someone who's been in the campaign world for a long time. Pennsylvania was always kind of our benchmark for Republicans. Can we play there? Can we keep it close and even potentially win? You just got back from Pennsylvania. You've been up there a lot. What is it like on the ground? Are you feeling that kind of momentum? Because we have national audience, but they want to know what's happening in swing states.
Well, it's definitely working in our favor, and I'll tell you this: we've got a large number of people working door to door there. The weather has been good in Pennsylvania. That has allowed us to actually get out and canvass, because if you think about where our voters are, they're not in the densely populated urban areas. They're in the more ex-urban and rural areas, but we're able to get to them, and people have enthusiasm like I've never seen before.
Senator Hagerty, thanks for being in here with us and taking that time to actually be in the studio. It's great to have you. It's one of our best senators in the U.S. Senate. Now, let me tell you folks what you can do. We are launching our match early so that we are prepared for any election day or post-election day, or even now if you've got questions on early voting. So you can go to aclj.org/election hotline if you need to contact us and you believe that you need legal assistance, and we will contact you. Support the work of the ACLJ. Double the impact of your donation during our matching challenge at aclj.org. Donate.